Hi, I'm Jen Thwing. I'm going to be working with stop motion today. I'm an artist who works primarily with animation, and I also do installation. This is one of my newer pieces you can see up behind me that's made out of felt. I also have animations that go along with it, and so this is an example of the animation that fits with this installation. Okay, so we're going to be looking at creating stop motion using Stop Motion Studio. Okay, and so this is Stop Motion Studio. We're going to be animating these elements that are going to be kind of coming out of, coming out of these rainbows and then animating out. And so we'll animate like a couple of these kind of animating out. Okay, and I just want to show you Stop Motion Studio Pro. You can install it on your computer. You can also install it on your phone as well, and it's in the App Store. We're going to be working on this canvas right here. I just want to show you a couple of things in the window. So if you look, this window right here, you'll notice along the side there's a lot of different settings. I'm going to take my mouse and run through those settings. And so the first one is, this is where you choose your camera. Now notice I have a whole bunch of different options. I can do my FaceTime. I have a Mac, so Macs have FaceTime, but you can choose your onboard camera. You can choose a DSLR that's hooked up. You can also choose, I have a webcam, and then Epoch Cam you can actually download to your phone, and you can turn on Epoch Cam and you can hook it up to your computer. Or you can also just use the app, the Stop Motion Pro app that's on your computer. So it's Stop Motion Studio, and I'm going to take you to the App Store and just show you. So this is essentially it. And one other thing that I can do, I know this is upside down right now. So in here I can actually flip my canvas. So under orientation I can say rotate it. And so right here you can see this is Stop Motion Studio. You just download it and you can actually shoot with your phone. Okay, you could do the same thing with an iPad as well. Okay, so again up here I can choose the camera. Orientation, I can flip it. So right now this is the actual rotation, like I'm sitting above my canvas. Here are my hands right now, and I'm going to be animating these elements coming out. Okay, I can also adjust saturation, so I can make it less saturated or more saturated, or brightness. I can bring it down or bring it up, have it be really saturated, and I can also bring up contrast. So if I want it to be crazy saturated, I can bring up contrast like that. Okay. If you have a DSLR, you have a lot of different options like focusing and positioning. I can preview the background behind it. You can do things with keying. If you don't know what keying is, it's essentially where you cut out the background and you put an image behind it. Okay. And the most important thing, in my opinion, is movie speed. I usually go 12 frames per second. So if you look in the bottom right-hand corner, so the very last option, 12 is the lowest number. So if I'm doing an animation and something moves 12 times, it's 12 images per second. That's as low, I'm not going to see this sort of jagged movement. Okay, so let's get started. So if you look at this portion, like kind of down here along the bottom, this is your timeline, and you'll see there's a little button right here, and that button I will press to record my screen. So I'm going to start off. I already have a bird up here, and I think this bird will come out from the orange. And I'm going to start off. This is what I usually do, and I'm going to bring up my contrast. I think it's actually too contrasty, so I'll bring up the brightness a little bit. Okay. So I just hit this little red button, or I can hit the return key. And I usually do it a number of times so I have a pause. Remember, this is 1/3 of a second if I have 4 frames, because it's 12 pictures per second. Okay, then I'm going to grab this little guy, and I'm going to start animating. And people ask me, like, how much do you want to animate? How much movement do you want? Well, my recommendation is a lot of it's just about timing, about sort of practicing. So I keep hitting it, and you'll notice it keeps adding new frames. But generally, if you just go slower, the better. And by the way, this right here, this is called onion skinning. This allows me to see my last frame, to see how much movement there is. Also to see if it's in line. Another thing that I did is I taped down my background because, God forbid, my background moves or my camera moves. I do like working on the computer versus using my phone, because with the phone application, you have to touch your phone, which means there's a lot of possibility of movement. Now, in just a second, I'm going to play this. So there we go, and I'll take off the onion skinning. I'm a big fan of things being kind of revealed through lines. Okay, so the next one I'm going to actually do the exact same thing, and I have in here, so let's stop this and go move it. This is called the Playhead. Move it to the very last frame so I know I'm shooting on the last one. And you'll notice I have a pink one of these, and I'm going to have him come here. Okay, so I'm going to now animate the second one coming out. So I'm going to hit record a couple of times, and then I'm going to have this guy kind of jump out of here. We'll start off, this is sort of a dark green on green. You'll notice if there's any strange movement in here, like I kind of moved the fabric a lot, it can cause problems where it just looks strange, like you see the wrinkling of the fabric. I mean, I like that a lot. I think sometimes you can really utilize that, but if it's not intentional, it can look like a mistake. And again, I'm using, make sure I turn my onion skinning on. I've animated for quite a while, so I don't always use onion skinning if it's a simple movement. I absolutely do if I want to keep things kind of lined up. You know, generally it turns out better with onion skinning. So you can also do what's called easing. If you want something to start off slow, you do really small movements. If you want something to go really fast, you do large movement. Now, if I want to, I can do one, I'll do one more. We'll have one come out of the yellow this time. Go up there. Okay, so I'm going to move my playhead over here. Oh, and by the way, if you touch the top of it, it becomes pink. It means that it's only going to record that one frame. Like it's only going to play that one frame. And I don't want too much movement. If you rush it, it's easy to rush it. Like I normally don't rush it, but because I'm doing a demo right now, it makes you a little less aware of the movement. So I, of course, want this to line up. So here we go. We have a nice bit of movement. I'll take the onion skinning out. Oh, and so again, this is really important to note. Right now I have, how many frames do I have? I have 100, no, I have 78 frames. If I highlight them so they're all pink, it'll play all of them. That pink highlighted area shows the amount of elements that are highlighted. And you saw there was a little bit of movement there. So I had like a little bit of, you know, and the camera's sort of adjusting. That's another thing to sort of remember, that if the lighting changes, and I generally kind of let the mistakes sort of happen, but okay. So again, I can, if I feel like it's too contrasty, I can select all of these and adjust them a little bit. And I can also, if I want to, like if I wanted to loop this back, you can actually copy and paste. So if I do Control Copy, there's an option to then go in the timeline and do Control Paste, and then I can say reverse. So it plays forwards and backwards. I don't really need it for this one. Okay, and if you want to add any sound, I can go in and I can say, and what I would do is I would go into the frame that I want to be at. So let's see, where's my playhead? Playhead is at the very end here. So I'll drag it way to the beginning. Here's my movement. So it's going to put it wherever my playhead is. Okay, so it's at the very beginning, and I'm going to hit the plus sign, go to audio, and there's a lot of different music that you can use. You can also import your own sound. A lot of times I have songs that are sort of ambient songs that I use. So we'll use this one. And so I would continue it on. Okay, cool. So last but not least, when you're exporting, this is how you do it. You do File and Share and Movie, and then you could choose your size. I generally choose HD 1080p. I choose Fill, and I make sure I have my video and my audio, and then I hit Share, and we'll call this Fish. Okay. So it makes a little beeping sound. Here's Fish. Okay. Okay. So that's the basics of stop motion. You can do all kinds of different things with stop motion. We will have a live conversation about this, and so if you have any questions, I can definitely answer your questions. This was just sort of a very brief overview. There are a number of other programs that you can use, so I can give you tips if you want to do cell animation. I use a program called Dragon Frame. It gives you a little more control over your camera. It's sort of an upgrade from Stop Motion Studio. Okay, so thank you. Bye.